but I know you wanted to talk a little bit about writing, so I brought a little bit of my process to share for somebody who's about to start their own projects. They're looking at the blank page and they're not quite sure where to take the step because the blank page is extremely daunting. And so when I was at USC, I had a really, really, really strong, amazing writing professor teach me sort of his steps to approaching a blank page, and I wanted to share those with you because it's quite amazing. And it's going to sound really simple and really kind of common sense, but for me, until somebody told it to me, it really didn't make sense. So I apologize if this sounds dumbed down, but if you really think about it, it really will help you with staring at the blank page. And first, I kind of want to talk a little bit about what movies are, and really, movies are about people, and people are defined by their relationships. And so the stronger characters that you have in your movie are defined by their relationships. If you want strong characters in your movies because that's what's going to entertain people and grip people, and so the stronger their relationships, the stronger we care, and the stronger your characters are. The little bit of advice that I would have is for future writers, the first be a storyteller, then be a writer, and then be a screenwriter. If you can, if you can do in that order, if you say, okay, I'm going to write a script, and you jump right at the page, you're going to get lost and overwhelmed, and you won't be able to really complete the goal that you're trying to go out and do. So if you can tell a story before you ever write anything down, it's really going to help you with the process. It's kind of like writing a paper for school. It's a lot of ways the script. You have this idea of what your paper is going to be about, and then you start to outline it. You're not writing yet, but you're just outlining your story, and you tell a story. And if you can tell your story vocally to somebody, you can write it in a script. It's not going to be a problem, but it's getting to that point where you know your beginning, middle, and end, who your characters are, and what happens in the story. That'll really help with your script writing process. And I just have a couple little bit more things. I'm just looking at the notes because I want to be able to tell you guys concisely what I think will help with a lot of people. And this was a sentence that this professor told me. He goes, tell me a compelling story about a person who is in serious trouble, and if they do not solve their problems, there will be dire consequences. And I think that really sums up almost every movie that you watch, and you can really boil any movie down into that. A clear example would be Steven Spielberg's Jaws. And that is a pretty brilliant piece of storytelling, both from a plot standpoint and from a story standpoint, which I'll get into here in a second, because there's a difference between the two. But what's the plot of Jaws? Jaws is about a shark that shows up at this New England town and starts eating people and doesn't go away. And so the town has to rally together to send fishermen out to go kill this shark, or else they're going to lose all their business and everybody will go bankrupt and the town will be no more. That's the plot. And what's the story? Well, the story is about Chief Brody, who is terrified of the water. He's a new person in town, and nobody takes him seriously as the chief captain. So what is the story of him? It's he has to deal with both this plot of a shark attacking his town. How does he do it? He has to overcome his personal fear of entering the water, and once he's in the water, then he has to take control of the situation and sort of become the chief that he's supposed to be while this shark is attacking his ship. So it's kind of like this duality of an internal struggle versus an external struggle. I don't know if that's confusing to anybody, but I think it's a good way to think about it. Another good way to think about it is plot is A happens, then B happens, then C happens, then D happens, and the story is and then the story is how does that character respond in those situations, and what do they want? What is their chief goal in the whole movie? And then you as a storyteller can say either they accomplish it or they don't accomplish it within the plot. So that's sort of kind of story versus plot. And it really didn't make sense to me until this professor broke it down, and it was quite amazing. And so that's sort of my process that I've been whenever I approach a blank page.
Oh, okay. So how long did it take you to like discover all that sequences? Because obviously no one wants to read a story about someone where it's all going really jolly good isn't really a good story, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, happy people are boring. We can't really. We have problems. We want to see people with problems because we can relate to them. Yeah. And when you relate to your characters, that's when you keep watching them. That's when the movie becomes a success. We care. Just sticking with the Jaws thing, we care whether Chief Brody, is going to get into the water or not. His problem, he's terrified of this shark. He's terrified of the water. I know I'm terrified of the water, and I'm absolutely terrified of sharks. So I cared completely about his problem. Yeah. And I wanted to see how he'd overcome it. How was he going to get rid of this shark and save his town?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, we actually put
Actually, a question what that would really work well with. Friend of the show, Kimbass238 asks, the description of action on and the characters' emotions need to be detailed, or is this something that needs to be developed later on? So I think she means in a script when they write down what happens, what a character does that need to be well detailed at the time, or is that added, say, when the director meets the actor and they add that in a second, third draft, fourth draft?
It's a little bit of both, really. You don't want to put emotions down in there unless it's something extremely, extremely specific, because you want to give the actor a chance to embody themselves into this character. And if you start telling them how they're supposed to feel, it's not going to read well on camera. But action-wise, it is important if it's important for your story. You're painting a picture for all the departments to see. And so, the better, the more poetic, the more you can paint the picture, as opposed to it feeling like a ladder and we got to climb these tiers. If it feels like it's flowing, that's going to be more beneficial for your script and in the long run, the final movie.
Yeah, definitely. Right, okay. So a good question actually from DDC2. I think I said that right. She says, Ty, did you get into script structure because you wanted to be a script writer?
Actually, started studying scripts because I'm first and foremost a director, or a storyteller, really, not even so much a director. I kind of fell into it, too, when I started film school. And, the best way to get a grasp on directing is writing the story, because your primary goal as a director is to tell the story. And nobody knows the story better than the screenwriter who's writing it. So that's sort of what pushed me into screenwriting, and I've just kind of fallen in love with it. So we're still going with it.